All right, folks, we've got a champion in the building today. He's a Super Bowl winning cornerback who brought the same intensity off the field as an entrepreneur and community leader. Y'all give it up for Kayvon Webster. What's up, cousin?
Woo!
Big up yourself, brother.
What's
Well,
up,
go on, man. How you
good
doing today?
morning.
How you feeling?
Good morning. I feel awesome, man. I'm just grateful to be here. I can't complain, and I'm looking forward to what's next.
I hear you. I gotta ask out the gate, why is there so much talent in South Florida? Like, why are y'all so dominant in football? Why are y'all so athletic? Like, what's going on in the water down there, bro?
It's not even the water. It's that in Florida, you pretty much spend all of your time outside, so you're around your peers all of the time, and you just find yourself playing these sports, and what brings out better competition than competing with your peers.
We're a couple of weeks away from the Super Bowl having take place. You know, the Eagles won the chip. Did
Mm-hmm.
you see the game going quite like that, man? Were there any surprises for you?
I think if you watch throughout the season, you could see some tells. You know that the Chiefs were really great, but it takes all 53 guys on the roster to win a Super Bowl. And after you watch the Chiefs, they have a few players that that can change the game, but it wasn't enough for the Eagles. During the Chiefs season, you could see that they should have lost maybe about 10 games during that season already.
10 is a lot.
I mean, they had 12 games where they was down and they came back and won. I think 10 of them was by 3 points, and one of them was two of them was a comeback, I believe. But I kind of saw this coming. I saw the Eagles dominating, by the performance they put on the previous week, and then the Chiefs were depleted with actual like talent. So it was only right that the Eagles win.
All right, Kayvon, looking forward, which one of your former teams are you most excited to see next season?
I'm excited to see the Broncos again. They were pretty exciting this year. Shout out to P2. He got a nice award for his great ability of shutting down on his island. It's always great to see Denver win games and get back on top because if I can remember, they haven't been to the playoffs until this year since we went to the Super Bowl. So it was great to see that team, get the well-deserved wins that they needed to get back to where we need to be.
So you feel like Sean Payton is the right guy for the Broncos?
I just like everything that the Broncos doing. I won't just give Sean Payton all of the credit. I would give the whole organization the credit. They do have new ownership. They are reaching out to do new things, and it was a great start by bringing in Sean Payton and him drafting a young, nice quarterback for the future of the Broncos.
Playing DB right now looks extremely challenging. You can't
Yeah.
touch. You can rarely make any contact. So for you, when you were lined up, who was the toughest receiver that you had to cover, man?
Hmm. So I played with some really great receivers. So when it came to the game time, I wouldn't say it was like hard to guard any receivers. So I used to train with Antonio Brown for about really my whole career. But Antonio was a fierce competitor to line up against. Definitely give you a chance to work on yourself. Uh, I would say Demarius Thomas was another guy who was nice to line up against. He was my teammate, so I lined up against him in practice. I would say Keenan Allen was a good challenge. He has some different type of releases. DeAndre Hopkins, another one. It's just too many to name. It's a few great guys out there that is good to go
Yeah.
up against to compete against. And I was always up for the challenge. So
So, yeah, Kayvon, earlier in the show, we talked about college basketball coach Rick Pitino essentially saying that he's not recruiting any high school players this year. What do you feel like the future of college sports is going to look like with the rise of NIL?
it's definitely a space that is it's just a space right now. It's just like we don't know. Like it's something that I feel like we work for. Like the people that came before them is like we work hard for that, for them to be able to get that. And it's a great thing to be able to have these young kids get in financial positions that could change their life without having to wait all the way till they get to the NFL. You know, right now they're in positions where they can secure their families for generations because of the money that they're getting through NIL. I think it's going to be a weird space for a while because it's gonna be tough. Like when you have high school kids getting this large amount of money that people in the NFL get, or the college players are getting, it's gonna be kind of hard to navigate with them because they're young and they have a lot. And it's just like when you see a lot, you miss everything, and when you see a little, you see the full spectrum of everything. So
So they ain't gonna have no dog in them, is what you're saying. We not gonna be developing no dogs anymore.
yeah, it's kind of like when you get money, like some people just be complacent with what they get. They lose that hunger because they like, oh, I could fall back on this, or I could mess this up and I could still re-up or get back. But that's the wrong mindset to have when you have money. Just you gonna make mistakes, but don't make a mistake just because something else is coming. Like, make the mistake genuinely. Don't just make the mistake. Because there's a lesson in all the mistakes that you make.
Yeah. Well, in this case, you have players that are staying longer in college because they're making so much money. You have teams like, unfortunately, my Auburn Tigers, the basketball team, they're older than like OKC. And so now the high school kids, I feel like maybe are affected because, like Bettino said, I'm not going to go out and get somebody that's inexperienced. I'm going to go and find another player that's been in college.
Right. I mean, you got to look at it from their perspective. They trying to win games and championships.
Right. Yeah.
The more experienced your team is, the more chance you give yourself to win. So I understand what he's saying by that, but as a college coach, you still have to recruit, you know, high school players. How else they gonna get into college? Like, how else you gonna get college students? I mean, I guess they're gonna still be. I think it's a thing out now where they could go to JUCO, or
JUCO, yeah, and they
they
remain
could
all
get
the
they get
eligibility.
1 year
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So it's gonna be interesting. You might see a lot of kids going to junior college, you know, and then going to a college team. That's great for them because they get actual prep to go
Yeah.
perform at a high level at a winning school. Those are things that we didn't really have. Our clock was running. It was just like, okay, when we turned 18, we had to go to college, and our clock running right now.
For
Just
sure.
like, now I got to be full and done. I got to get what I need to get out of this right now. It's great that they having all of these years extended, because now we might see people that looking like us actually get degrees for being in college a long time. So
Yeah.
it's a great thing.
A lot of players don't talk about what life is like for them once they get done playing. Kind of talk me through what it was like for you, and maybe how did entrepreneurship kind of help you maybe get over the loss of not playing the game anymore?
So football was always something that I did. It wasn't who I was. I had some off the field things happen to me when I was a second year player, and it made me realize that the game of football could not be, it could be taken away from me, just like that. And then I just started getting focused, and I was like, okay, I could still put my all into this, but I do need something from when this is done, you know? And that's how I was able to matriculate into what I'm doing now, having a truck business. That was my first step into entrepreneurship and learning how to, you know, register my business on Sunbiz, getting a bank account, finding the right team to just make that gel so that I could focus on sports and that they focus on the business side.
I love it. I know right now you are sitting outside of your restaurant. You were just awarded a $10,000 grant. What was it like for you to be surprised with this grant by the Black Alliance, the Black Innovation Alliance, excuse me?
Um, it was definitely unexpected to receive a grant of that nature. I was grateful. I think we received it around the time where the restaurant was experiencing some problems. We had a fire that happened out back. I was grateful that that blessing came at that time, and I'm looking forward to continue to make other blessings, come to fruition.
I'm sorry, you got to tell us about the business. I didn't even ask that question first. It's
Yeah,
a
you,
restaurant.
you jumped in like, nah, but so for the people who are watching and who don't know about Kayvon Webster, I started my food journey after playing in the league for 8 years. I started my journey like maybe the last 2 years of my career when I was in Los Angeles. I had a private chef, and when I got hurt at the time, I was unable to walk. So I was like, dang, how I'm going to, keep my chef on full time, because I know, during the off season it's not, that much money coming in and stuff like that. So I was looking at like how we could continue to work together and me receive, the services that I'm receiving. And it started with meal planning first for about a week or two, and then I had a chef who was in the culinary industry. He was from Cheesecake Factory, and he moved to California, and that's how our journey started with the truck. The truck wound up growing from Cali to Florida during the pandemic, and it just kept growing, and it grew so much that I had to jump into the restaurant industry, in which I got the restaurant, and I was trying to curate a clubhouse for athletes, for us, by us. But then I met a food critic who came by, and I was intrigued by his conversation about the food and what he doesn't put into his body, and it kind of resonated with me because I'm an athlete. I don't put a lot of foolishness into my body, and when I was playing, I was taking blood tests and just to see about what right gas I need to perform at the very high. And that conversation stuck with me, and I switched my mindset from a nightlife clubhouse place to a full service dining space, which is called Smith and Webster in Miami. The Smith and Webster is kind of related to like the Smith and Wesson gun, or Smith and Walensky, those things. I felt like the name would be elevated from Vibe 305, which was my food truck, to Smith and Webster, and that's how today. So
That's a good call. That's a good choice right there. I like that name switch for sure. Thank you for your time, bro. We
I appreciate
appreciate you.
y'all. Thank you.
Best of luck with Smith and Webster. I'm looking forward to coming down to Miami. Samaria be out in these streets, so you might see her before you see me. But at some point, I want to come check your spot out.
You got to check out Smith and Webster Coral Springs and Smith and Webster Miami.
You all let us know who you want to hear on our show in the next episode. Let us know in the comments section.